Good morning, students. Today we are going to continue the chapter journal entries, and we are going to learn some other new topics in this chapter to record the journal entries. In the last class we started and we finished some of the important topics: how to prepare the journal entries, what is a specimen of journal entries, and rules of debit and credit, which is based on the type of accounts, and some of the problems which is relating to the journal entries, and how to analyze the business transaction. And up to the fourth sum we finished in the last class. So today's class we are going to see types of journal entries. So there is two type of journal entries. First one is a simple journal entry and second one is the compound journal entry. Okay, so we already studied under the double-letter system of bookkeeping. For every debit there is the equivalent corresponding credit. Okay, so in the simple journal entry, that is for example, if rent paid rupees 500, in this example it is a transaction, the name of the transaction is rent paid rupees 500. So how many accounts are in this transaction? That is two type, the name of the account is cash and rent. So these two accounts are affected in this transaction. So next we have to analyze what type of account. Rent is expense account and cash is the real account. So we have next step is we have to apply the rule. We have to know whether rent is expenses or income. Rent is an expenses, so the rent account should be debited, and cash account is a real account. So we have, as per the rule, debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Cash is going outside, so we are crediting the cash account. Okay, so in this transaction only two type of account is affected. Understood? So for every debit there is a equivalent corresponding credit. Understood? So this is one of the example of a simple journal entry. So next we are going to study compound journal entry. Okay, so in this compound journal entries, there is more than two accounts are affected. Understood? So it requires two or more accounts to be debited or two or more accounts to be credited. It is called as a compound journal entry. Understood? Two or more accounts to be debited or two or more accounts to be credited. So it is also called as a combined entries. Compound journal entry is another name is combined journal entries. Understood? So there is one of the examples. See that a business is borrowing the money to purchase an asset such as machinery from Anand and Sons. Okay, so the company pays cash for the portion of the cost, and for the remaining amount the seller will be treated as the creditor of the machinery. We already studied that the amount, whatever the asset is purchasing, if the cash is paying means it is the cash transaction, and if cash is not paid immediately, if the name of the person is involved, it is mean as a credit transaction. So in this example, person, for example, the value of the machinery is 5 lakhs, and at the time of purchasing the machinery the amount 3 lakhs is paid immediately by the purchaser. Okay, but the amount of machinery, value of machinery is 5 lakh, but they paid only the portion of certain portion of the value of machinery. 3 lakhs is paid immediately and the balance is considered as the credit. So that is the seller will be treated as the creditor of the machinery. Understood? So what will be the journal entry? So the asset is coming inside and the name of the machinery. So machinery account is debited with the value of 5 lakhs, and at the time of purchasing the amount is paid in cash, that is 3 lakhs is amount is paid at the time of purchasing. So credit part goes out to cash account, and the balance amount is is in the form of credit basis, is purchased in the form of credit basis. So we are crediting the name of the seller. Anand and Sons will be credited for the balance amount. Understood? 2 lakhs. So total value of machinery is 5 lakhs. Understood? So being the machinery purchased, the narration of the journal entry, being machinery purchased and part of the payment is made in cash. So in this example sum, the combined entry is a journal entry derived from combining two or more simple journal entries. So combination of two or more simple journal entries is called as a combined entry or compound entry. Okay. So we have to know for what purpose this. It is very helpful to reduce some of the effort, and place of two or more simple entries will reduce the task which is involved in the transactions, and more efficient. So it is more efficient from the bookkeeping to the in order to underline the business transaction a single entry. It's very easy to do to write the journal entry. And coverage of a single accounting event for all debit and credit which relate to a single accounting event, recording a compound journal entry. So if there is four type of expenses means, instead of writing individually, we can able to combine all the, because expenses is a debit balance. We already studied expenses is a nominal account. So we have debit all the expenses, we will debit the expenses. So if there is a 5 type of expenses, for example salary paid, wages paid, rent paid, commission paid, like this, if there is a 4 type of expenses and amount will be individual. Okay, so four transaction is a expenses transaction. So instead of recording individually, we can use the compound entry. Okay, so that is debiting all the expenses. Salaries account debtor. So what will be the journal entry? Salaries account debtor, for example 500, rent account debtor 1000, wages account debtor 200, commission account debtor 1000. Okay, so we are debiting all the account and we are crediting only one account to cash account. Okay, so this is one of the example of compound entry. So we have to debit all the expenses and crediting only one account to cash account, and we will add all the amount and we will credit in the cash account. Understood? Okay. So see that compound entries. So this is one of the example for the compound entries. Problem 5. Journalize the following transaction. See the first one. Paid rent 500 and salaries 500. So both are expenses. So see the journal entry. And here the no date is mentioned in this sum. So no need to date the date. But you have to provide the columns. Okay. Put the heading, and the name of the concern is also not involved in this problem. So no need to write. Journal entries, date, particulars, LF, debtor, amount, creditor, amount. Okay, so first transaction is rent and salaries are the expenses. So we are debiting both the account and crediting the cash account. And see that 500 for rent and salaries 500, we are adding 1000 and we are crediting in the cash account. Understood? See the second one. Bought goods from Whipple worth rupees 200 and paid the half the amount in cash. So we already studied one of the exam machinery like that. Bought goods. Here the name of the asset is not indicated. Okay, so bought goods means we have to use the word as a purchase. I already explained. So purchase account debtor to be debited. Okay, so pay the value of the goods is 2000 and they pay the half the amount. Okay, so half of the amount is paid. So to cash account, credit what goes out? 1 lakh. The balance amount is considered as a credit purchase. So we are crediting the name of the seller. Seller is a Whipple. So we are crediting the Whipple account. Understood? Okay. So 1000. So in a single entry, we already studied, if it is a cash purchase, purchase account debtor to cash account, and if it is a credit purchase, instead of cash account, we are crediting the name of the person. The same procedure, but instead of writing the individual entry, we are, because purchase is the debit, but credit, there is a two type of credit. One is the means of cash which is going outside, and another one is the credit, that is credit sales. So we are crediting the name of the seller. Okay, understood? So come to the third one. Cash rupees 10,000 and goods worth rupees 6,000 invested in the business. So which is coming inside? Debit what comes in? Capital is a personal account. Okay, so capital account should be credited. Debit what comes in? Cash, by means of cash 10,000, and means of goods, instead of writing the name of the goods, we insist the word stock. We already studied, no? So stock account 6,000 to capital account 16,000. Okay, so automatically the cash and the stock is coming inside. It is an asset, so value is increased, and also it is coming in the form of capital which is invested in the business. So automatically the capital of the business will also be increased. So only the capital account is credited. Understood? So see that for D, fourth one, proprietor means the owner. Withdrew for personal private use cash 500 and goods 100. Okay, so it is one of the drawings. This transactions related to the drawings. Understood? So here goods in goods means we already know by writing instead of the name goods we are using the word purchase account. Understood? So drawings account is to be debited because drawings is a personal account. Understood? Drawing account to be debited, and credit what goes out? Cash account, and purchases account is to be credited. Understood? 500 by means of cash, and means of goods, instead of goods we are writing the word purchase account 100. So total amount is 600 is withdrawn by the proprietor for the private use. Understood? Okay, so the next one is purchased machinery worth rupees 5,000, furniture 1,000 from Rainbow Limited. So here also this two type of assets is not purchased for cash, only as a credit basis. Okay, so debit what comes in? Machinery is coming inside and furniture also coming inside. So we have to debit the two type of accounts. Machinery account debtor 5,000 and furniture account debtor 1,000. Understood? So next we have to credit. Instead of crediting the cash account, we are crediting the name of the seller. So the name of the seller is Rainbow Limited. So machinery account debtor, furniture account debtor to Rainbow Limited 6,000. Okay, so very simple sum related to the compound entries. Understood? So next come to the goods and service tax. So we already studied, no? So goods and service tax. So GST. So national tax, and is a uniform tax which is across all the states of the country. And GST can be understood as the tax on the value addition covering the entire range of production activity from the manufacturer to the consumer. So it is one of the amount of tax which is fixed by the government, which is on the entire production activity from the manufacturer to the consumer. So CGST means a central goods and service tax, and SGST is called as a state government and service tax. IGST is called as a integrated goods and service tax. Okay, so when there is supply of goods and services within the state, okay, it is called as a intra-state supplies. Within the state means intra-state supplies, and in this case the center will impose CGST and the state will impose SGST. Okay, understood? When there is a supply of goods and services between the two states, it is called as a interstate supplies. So in this case, the center will impose IGST, which is called as Integrated Goods and Service Tax. Okay. So if the producer or the seller pays GST on the purchase of inputs, he can avail of GST credit, input credit, when he converts input into output. Okay. So what are the accounting entries? So you have to write this accounting entries in your class or note. Understood? So accounting entries under the GST. So see that the first entry is GST, accounting entries under GST at the time of intra-state supplies. Intra-state supplies, the two type of GST will become intra-state. Understood? Intra-state means within the state. In this, two type of tax will become, one is CGST, another one is the SGST. Okay. So CGST and SGST. So GST paid on the time of purchase. Okay. So at the time of the purchase account to be debited, we already know that. So if it is a cash purchase or credit purchase, purchase account debtor to cash account. If it is a cash purchase, if it is a credit purchase, we will credit the purchase account debtor to creditor, name of the seller. This is the journal entry, no? So in this case, if it is GST at the time of purchase, we have to, that is input CGST accounts will be debited and input SG account to be debited. And GST at the time of sales means output. So reverse entry. Okay. If it is a cash sales means cash account debtor to sales account, and if it is a credit sales means name of the debtor to sales account, and output CGST account and output SGS account to be credited at the time of sales. Understood? So input GST is adjusted set off against the output GST, and only then the excess of output GST over input GST is deposited in the government account at the prescribed. This is the one of the rules. Okay. So see that output CGST account debtor, output SGST to input CGST to input SGST, and the differences amount is to be credited, okay, to the electronic cash ledger account. Being the GST credit input availed, and balance is transferred to the government account through the e-cash ledger. This is one of the rules. Okay. So next, come to the next one. That is GST. No, e-ledger is an electronic form of. First we have to know what is in the e-ledger. No, so it is an electronic form of passbook. It is an electronic form of passbook for GST. So it is a part of e-ledger. The amount of GST deposited through the cash to the government account through the electronic cash ledger. So the balance amount to be credited to the deposited to the government account. Okay. And see that accounting entries under the GST at the time of interstate supplies. At the time of interstate, that is between the two states. So only one tax will become under the interstate supplies, that is the IGST. Understood? IGST. Intrastate means CGST and SGST will become, but in interstate, that is the tax between two states, it is called interstate, and in this case IGST, integrated goods and service tax alone will become. So at the time of purchase, the same entry, we have to debit the input because it is a purchase. So input IGST account to be debited. At the time of sales, output IGST account to be credited. And last one, that is the differences, being the GST credit input availed, if there is a balance, so we have to debit the output IGST and input IGST to be credited, and the balance account is to be credited to the electronic cash ledger, that is e-cash ledger, balance to be transferred. Understood? Okay, so see, these are all the journal entries relating to the GST. So journal entries of GST, if it is a intrastate means CGST and SGST will become, and if it is a interstate means IGST alone will be come. Understood? So first we will see the sum that is relating to the GST. That is some of the problems. It's very easy problems only. Okay, so there are 6, 7, 8 problems. 3 problems are relating to the GST. Okay, so see the sum. So transaction related to the GST, and in the bracket intrastate, it is the intrastate, it is within the state. So CGST and SGST will be appearing in this problem. Journalize the following transactions in the books of Mr. Naujat. Okay, so see the first one. Mr. Naujat purchased goods for rupees 2 lakhs locally within the state and paid CGST at 9% and SGST 9%. It's a very simple problem. Okay, so in 2 lakhs you have to calculate 9 by 100 18,000, 9 by 100 18,000, so 80,000 for CGST and 18,000 for SGST. So what is the journal entry? Journal entry is same one, purchase account data and input CGST, input SGST, because it is a purchase now to cash account. We have to add the amount of goods plus CGST plus SGST, and the amount to be credited to the cash account. Understood? Next one, sales were made to Amar on credit. Okay, for 1,80,000, the same state, that is the intrastate, and charged CGST at 9% and SGST 9, the same sum. So what will be the journal entry? On credit. So name of the, in the name itself, even if the on credit is not indicated, by seeing the name you have to understood that it is a credit sales transaction. So we have to debit the name of the person. Name of the person is Amar account. So Amar account data to sales account. So it is a sales. So we have to credit the output CGST and output SGST. Okay, so 1,80,000 you have to calculate 9 by 100 16,200, 9 by 100 16,200. So you have to add the 3 amount and you have to debit the 2,12,400 to Amar account. Understood? It's a very simple sum. So next, come to the next one. Sold goods amounting to 1,20,000, 5% trade discount. Okay, so for trading activities they are charging discount of 5%, and charged trade discount means automatically we will reduce the discount amount will reduce the amount of the actual value of the amount. We already studied, no? So it's very simple. After subtracting the discount amount, in the balance amount we have to charge CGST 9% and SGST 9%. Understood? So come to the working notes. See what is the amount of goods sold? 1,20,000. First, if there is a trade discount, first we have to subtract the trade discount. So we have to subtract trade discount at 5%. So 1,20,000 into 5 by 100. So the amount is 6,000. So after subtracting the trade discount, what is the balance amount? 1,14,000. So in this 1,14,000 we have to calculate the CGST at 9% and SGST at 5%. Sorry, 9%. So 10,260, 10,260. So the total amount is 1,34,520. Okay. So now come to the journal entry. So here the name of the person is not indicated, so it is called as a cash sales. Understood? If the name of the person is indicated means it is called as a credit sales. But in this transaction it is called as a cash sales because name of the person is not indicated. So what will be the journal entry? Cash account data to sales account, and it is a sales, so we have to credit output CGST and output SGST account and see the working notes and write the amount. In the sales you have to write after retaining the trade discount what will the amount 1,14,000 and output CGST 10,260 and output SGST 10,260. Add the amount and write in the cash account. It should be debited. Understood? So come to the next one. Fourth transaction. What is the fourth transaction? Mr. Naugat gave legal consultation fee 8,000 and was charged GST. Assume SGST at 6%. Sorry, CGST. That is a printing mistake. CGST at 6% and SGST 6%. Understood? Legal consultation fee. Okay, and was charged GST. So the person is liable to pay the fee as a legal consultation. So for the legal consultation he is paying the amount of 8,000. Understood? So it is one of the expenses. For legal consultation fee is expenses for that person. So as it is the same entry. Okay, so legal consultation fee is one of the expenses. So in that expenses they are charging the SGST and CGST, the same one. Okay, so if there is any expenses, because the purchase is also one of the expenses, so we are debiting the input CGST and input SGST. The same logic is applying in this transaction also. Legal charges is also one of the expenses, so we are debiting the legal charges and it is to cash or bank account. Credit what goes out to cash or bank account, and we are debiting the input CGST account and input SGST account. Okay, so the legal charges amount 8,000. In this 8,000 calculate 9%. So 9 by 100 480 and 9 by 100 480. Sorry, 6%. No, so 8,000 into 6 by 100 and 8,000 into 6 by 100. Input CGST and input SGST. Understood? Keep in mind, so purchase is one of the expenses and we are debiting the input CGST and input SGST. The same logic is for the legal charges also. So for the legal charges, it is one of the expenses, so it includes the amount of GST. Understood? So when paying the amount of legal charges, he is liable to pay the extra amount in the form of CGST and SGST. So it is one of the expenses for the person, so only we are debiting. But in the case of credit sales or cash sales, it is one of the income. Okay, so we are crediting the output CGST and output SGST. Understood? Okay, so legal charges is one of the expenses. So when he is paying the amount of legal charges 8,000, he is liable to pay the extra amount of 480 in the form of CGST and 480 in the form of SGST. So the total amount is 8,960. It should be paid by that person. Understood? See the fifth transaction. Show the GST liability. So we have to find the total amount of liability of that person in the form of GST. So come to the working notes. So the first we have to find the total input CGST, total input SGST, total output CGST and total output SGST. Okay, so see that first one is total input CGST. Total input CGST. So what is the amount? 18,000. From the first entry you have to check. input CGST, the first entry, what is input CG? 18,000, no? So second entry, no such input CGST. In the fourth one, input CGST is 480. So 8,000 plus 480, 18,480. Now count to the total input SGST. So see, from the first transaction, input is 18,000, and also in the fourth transaction 480. So 18,480. Now come to the total output CGST. See the second transaction 16,200, and see the third one. What is the amount? 10,260. Total is 26,460. Next, come to the total output SGST. See the second transaction 16,200. See the third one 10,260. Total is 26,460. And we have to find the net amount which is payable to the government through that is electronic cash ledger. Understood? And this is this sum is related to the intra-state supplies, that is within the state. So you have to write the journal entry, and you have to check the journal entry. What is the journal entry of transferring the net amount of GST to the government through the electronic cash ledger? What is the journal entry? Output CGST account, output, see that, output CGST account, output SGST account, debtor, to input CGST account, to input SGST account, to electronic cash ledger account. First you write the journal entry as per the format. Okay, and just you see the working notes and write the total amount. Okay, so come to the fifth one. We finished by writing the journal entry, that is output CGST account. What is the total amount? 26,460. Output SGST account 26,460. To input CGST 18,480. To input SGST 18,480. Adding the amount, you have to find the balance amount. Okay, so the total of debit is how much? 52,920 minus total of input CGST, and input is total of output is 52,920 minus total of input is 36,960. The balance is 15,960. The balance amount, net amount of GST is payable to the government through the e-cash ledger. So we are crediting the, okay, so crediting the 15,960 to the electronic cash ledger account. Understood? It's a very simple sum. If you are thorough in the journal entries, don't mug up the journal entries. Apply the concept. Okay, so don't mug up the journal entries. Understood? So see the seventh sum. This sum is relating to the interstate. So in the last sum we studied about the intrastate supply, but this sum is related to the interstate. So only one tax is laid by the government, it is the IGST, Integrated Goods and Service Tax. It's a very simple sum. Okay. So try to finish the sum 7th and 8th problem. Okay, it's very simple problem. And the 8th problem is relating to the GST. Okay, so it includes both, that is it includes both the CGST, SGST and IGST. Okay, so 7th problem is relating to only the interstate supplies, that is interstate supplies means within the two states. Okay, so this IGST alone will become, but in the 8th problem it includes, that is transaction related GST, only the GST, but by reading the each and every transaction you have to analyze and you have to check whether it is interstate or intrastate. So if from outside the state, instead of giving IGST, they will give the hint as outside the state. So if it is the word includes outside the state, it is called as the interstate. So we have to use the tags IGST. Understood? Okay. So if it is within the state, we have to use CGST and SGST. Understood? So interstate is also called as, interstate means what is that? Outside the state. Okay, so definitely there will be a hint to find out whether it is an interstate or intrastate. Only by analyzing the transaction you can able to whether it maybe indicates the word interstate or outside the state. So interstate is also called as outside the state. So we have to use IGST. Understood? If CGST and SGST is coming means it is called as a intrastate. Understood? It's a very simple problem. Just try to finish the 7th and 8th problem in your classwork note. Okay? So if you are having any doubt, you can ask me. I will clarify the doubt. Okay? So it's a very simple problem. Be thorough in this problem. So if there is any trade discount, first you have to subtract the trade discount and the balance amount only you have to find the GST, whether it is a CGST or SGST or IGST, whatever may be, the balance amount only you have to find the tax amount. Okay, so be thorough in this concept and do the problems up to the 8th problem and try to finish the sums. Okay, we will see in the next class. Thank you, students.